In this training, we will be reviewing the gifted procedural checklist. Task number 1 begins with creating a default gifted role to assign to all students in the district that are not being screened. Just a note here that, as I'm sure you are all aware at this point in the year, that ODE EMIS change 22-74 has gone into effect, and now gifted data is required to be reported in the beginning of the year student data, middle of the year student data, as well as final student collection. As soon as your district knows what grade levels they are going to screen, state support recommends the district run the gifted mass update to assign all students a gifted record. If possible, enter these records early in the fall. Once records have been created with default role values, any subsequent updates could override any manual updates to the records. Also, a student can only have one gifted record per school year. With the district level in context, you will navigate to student information, management, school administration, EMIS, gifted, and gifted roles maintenance, where you can click add gifted role. Task number 2, create a separate grade level specific gifted role for the students who will be screened. You want to be sure to include all screenings for a specific grade level when creating the grade level role. Once the records have been created with default role values, any subsequent updates could override any manual updates to the records. If your district has multiple buildings that serve the same grade levels, it is possible that the students in the same grade level may not be administered the same screenings, or if they do have the same screenings, they may be on different dates. So for this type of situation, you want to make a grade level specific gifted role created at that building where the values are different than the district level rule. Follow the steps below with the building in context. So you will navigate again to the gifted roles maintenance with your building in context and add a gifted role following the steps in the documentation. Districts are required to administer either the SAT or the ACT to their juniors each year. This is a state requirement. The SAT and the ACT are assumed to be a gifted screening for specific subject matters. And although these are assumed to be gifted screenings, they still must be reported to ODE on the gifted record for these students. For this reason, a building level screening rule should be put in place for the juniors taking either of these assessments in the subject areas listed below. In the event that a junior does not take a test on the test date, the screening record would need to be removed from his or her gifted record. So if the student takes the ACT, or I apologize, the SAT, they are considered screened for gifted in math and reading and writing. If they take the ACT, they are considered screened for gifted in math, reading, writing, and science. The identified field and the identified date need manually updated for any students meeting the threshold score. So you'll want to check with your gifted area coordinator to find out what those threshold scores are. And if they indeed are identified as gifted, you will want to manually update those fields. Task 3, run gifted mass update to assign students the district default role and the grade level screening rules simultaneously, followed by running any screenings set up at the building level. So if you are running a building specific screening after running the district screening, check the overwrite existing student gifted records box, and the building level rule will be applied to the students that already have the district rule. Any manual updates will be overwritten. You can follow the navigation at the district level in context, management, school administration, EMIS, gifted, and gifted mass update. You can then follow the steps here in the documentation. This shows you what the screen will look like. Task 4, after screening is administered, manually update assessed for those students who are undergoing further testing. So at the building level, with your student in context, you navigate to student information, SIS, student gifted record, and you'll place a you'll place a check in the box in the assessment column next to the area being assessed. And then you click save. You're going to repeat the steps above for each student who was assessed in a certain area. Some students may be assessed in all areas they were tested, and their gifted record would look as follows. Task 5, edit the individual gifted records for those students identified as being gifted. So once a student has been identified as gifted, his identified area and identified date will copy forward on his gifted record each year. So at the building level, with the student in context, navigate to SIS, student gifted record, and place a check in the box in the identified column next to the area in which the student is identified as gifted. Then you will enter the identified date and click Save. Task 6, if your district provides gifted services to students identified as gifted, update the student's gifted record. So under that same screen, SIS, student gifted record, you'll simply place a check box in the served column in the area that the student is being served as gifted and click Save. I do just want to point out as well, if you're in the screen and your students were neither screened, assessed, identified, or served, you can leave the screen completely blank and click Save, and that will enter a blank gifted record for your student, because each student is required to have a gifted record even if they were not ever screened for gifted. Task 7, copy student served values from one year to another. Just a note here, the gifted mass update must be run prior to running the gifted initialization, and the gifted initialization must be processed with the building level in context. So with the with the building in context, navigate to student information, management, school administration, EMIS, gifted, and gifted initialization. In the copy from school year 2021 box, select the school year to copy the served values from. In this example, it's 2021, and then you'll submit. And then a message will display detailing how many records were updated for you. Now you navigate to the student's gifted record to verify the served checkboxes were copied up to the year in context. Task 8, adding gifted records to new students who enter the district after the screening is administered. If you have a gifted grade level role that has screenings on different dates, such as math screening on 10/14 and reading and writing screening on 11/17, and if you run the gifted mass update for this grade level role, the late enrollee student will be updated as follows. If the student enrolls on 10/30, the student will receive only one screening for the 11/17 on his gifted record. If the student should enroll on 11/21, they will receive a gifted record with no items checked. So students who register in your district after the gifted mass updates have been processed will need to be updated. This includes students that are in the same grade level as those who were previously screened. Since the screen date is required with any rules where screening is updated, the gifted mass update can be run for all the rules, both district default and grade level specific rules, to add the correct gifted record for students who are late enrollees. With your district level in context in the current year, you'll navigate to EMIS, management, school administration, EMIS, gifted, and gifted mass update, and follow the remaining steps in the documentation. You'll then click submit. The screen will flash and display a message that the gifted records have been successfully updated, and the students who had a gifted role added will display at the bottom of the screen. Appendix A, these are samples of students' gifted records. This is the blank default gifted record that I mentioned. Every student will need at least one default gifted record. The third grade screening tests administered to all third graders. This will show students who are identified as gifted and if they are providing gifted services. Students who do not have a gifted record will display the gifted record as follows. And as I mentioned earlier, you will just click save, and then that will save a blank gifted record for your student. Appendix B reviews gifted reports, the ad hoc gifted detail report. The gifted updates must be run prior to running this report to pick up current year gifted data. Only students with a gifted record will be included. This report can be exported in either Excel or CSV format. It includes the school code, student number, last name, first name, homeroom, grade, status, identified date, And for each of the screened assessed areas, it includes the identified dates, screening, assessment, identified, and served values. The ad hoc gifted summary. This report provides summary data by student for the gifted records. You can filter on screening, assessment, or identified. Gifted area students. The gifted area students report displays the selected students by gifted area, school, and grade level. It shows the identified date and served flag for each gifted area that was selected. The output is grouped by school and grade level. Subtotals on the report include totals by grade level, school, and by gifted area. Detail output on the report includes student number, student name, gender, ethnicity, FTE, identified date, and served flag for each gifted area. Gifted student courses. This report displays the courses for the selected students along with the gifted area flags. Sorting options include student name, grade, or teacher and homeroom. Grouping options include homeroom, teacher, or grade level. Detail output on the report includes student name, student number, gifted area flags, course name, course section, credits, teacher, meeting time, EMIS subject code, and course subject area. The total student credits are also displayed. This report is run at the school level. The gifted student detail report. This displays the detailed gifted area information of each student selected. Sorting options include student name, grade, or teacher and homeroom. Grouping options include homeroom, teacher, or grade level. And the detail output on the report includes student name, number, grade, ethnicity, disability condition, gifted area, and screen, assessed, identified, served, and identified date for each gifted area. And this report is also run at the school level. Just a note here, students without an active course assignment are not included on this report. They are included in gifted reports in the Analytic Hub, such as the gifted detail and gifted summary. And finally, the gifted students missing records. This report displays a list of students who are missing a gifted record. Sorting options include student name, grade level, ethnicity, and sent to IRN. Detail output includes school code, school name, IRN, student name, student number, grade, gender, ethnicity, FTE, sent to IRN, admission date, and withdrawal date. The gifted students missing records report will return all students who are missing a yearly gifted record, whether they have identified data or not. This one can be run at the district or the school level. This concludes the gifted procedural checklist training. Please submit any questions that you have to estaff@omresa.net. Thank you.